Welcome into a Wednesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered here by Go Chevrolet. Appreciate our friends always being out there at Go Chevrolet. Check them out in Laplace, Louisiana, if you're looking for brand new cars. GEAUXChevrolet.com is where you can find all of the new cars and inventory. You can also shop the used cars at Go Express Auto Sales, GEAUXChevrolet.com. Good Wednesday morning to you. The Ace Wolf, will be through here. Adam Miller is going to stop back by at 8 a.m. this morning. We will also talk to Senator Rick Ward after a decade up in the legislature, as the senator will stop in here this morning. We'll talk to him about some of the things that was going on with the legislative session that just wrapped up earlier this week, and we'll ask him what's next for him as he leaves his legislative time behind, and what could be next for Senator Rick Ward, who will stop by here at 8:30 this morning. It is the summer days and summer months here, so your mailbag questions are much welcomed here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure and jump in at inside of the chat app. Any way you can get in touch with us. Remember, you can get us on Instagram, on Twitter. We'll be monitoring those social media platforms, so if you want to get your mailbag questions in, we'll get those asked and answered here before we get out of here at 9 a.m. this morning.
Help us.
Yes, Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight as it shifts across the country to Boston, as this series now tied up at a game apiece as it goes back home, or goes back to Boston, as the Celtics will see if they can get back into the win column after being beat up pretty bad last game in Game 2. We'll see how they respond coming up here tonight. The Lakers, Los Angeles Lakers, were able to fill their vacant coaching job. Not maybe the name that everybody was pulling. I
didn't know he was in coaching.
Me either.
And I wonder, this is an interesting
I remember Darvin
choice.
Ham as a player. He had the Rough Riders tattoo on his arm. And he played for Milwaukee for a while, but I didn't even know that he was in the game. The most interesting story about Darvin Ham accepting the Los Angeles Lakers job is that he's bringing Rasheed Wallace as an assistant coach.
That's who I was talking about. I didn't know he was in coaching.
I didn't know he was in coaching.
And him and Anthony Davis will make for an interesting pair.
Yeah. I think him and LeBron would make for an interesting pair. I think that Sheed would be much welcomed, or very this is an experiment that could go really good, or it could be blown up by training camp. It may not even make it to the regular season. But
absolutely. He doesn't hide his personality.
Ever.
And
I don't think he ever will. This LIV Golf Tour, we haven't talked about it a lot. A lot more national news now that LSU's wrapped up. It's camp week for LSU football. The 7-on-7 circuit's going to be popping on LSU's campus on Friday, as all three of the top quarterbacks in the state, Eli Holstein, Arch Manning, and Ricky Collins, will all have their teams on LSU's campus going through the 7-on-7 tournament. We talked a lot about that with Sam Spiegelman yesterday, and just the time of the year that recruiting is in right now. So if you missed that conversation, check it out. It's always brought back to you by our friends over at RMB Builders. And our phone line, where nobody will be on today, but every day, it's brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group, our friends over at Metropolitan Health Group. Real doctors, real solutions. This LIV Golf Tour is about to go live here with Greg Norman as the face, and we've seen some pretty big names over the last couple of days announce their resignation from the PGA Tour, including Dustin Johnson, who resigned from the PGA Tour, saying that he is now going to play on the LIV Tour, which is, this was pretty big news. I think that Phil Mickelson has, been the story around this LIV Golf Tour that everybody's been paying attention to. Phil's in some serious gambling trouble.
Ooh, it looks it.
And yesterday, his PR team were like, "Hey man, fall on the sword. Just tell the world that you've got a gambling problem." He was like, his story yesterday was, "I'm in a bad place. I got some gambling issues," and he's taking the LIV Tour route because this is the only cash grab he's got left in his life, because the PGA Tour is just not going to pay him the amount of money that he needs to get out of this gambling debt that he is in. It's been reported that Mickelson's getting a guaranteed $200 million to join the LIV Tour, which for a gambling addict who is in the hole, reportedly upwards of $50 million that, you know, I mean, these types of opportunities are not coming around many more times for Phil, and he had to just jump on it and take it. And yesterday came out and pretty much admitted, like, because look, the story behind this Live Golf Tour is that it's dirty money. It's like Saudi Arabian terrorist money that is backing this golf tour. Greg Norman is kind of the spokesman and the face of it. It's been reported that Tiger Woods turned down a 9-figure offer. I mean, possibly $1 billion offer from Liv to join the tour. And they're going after everyone. And Dustin Johnson, I don't think, has ever been concerned or worried about his brand or his his persona. Was kind of the first big whale to jump from the PGA that still had earning power, right? Like Phil Mickelson, you know, I mean, whether you agree, disagree, right, wrong, I mean, we all can agree he's in a bind. He's in a spot. He needs cash.
He had a reason to go over there.
And he is, you know, I mean, it from his personal standpoint, whether we agree or not, it makes sense for him because he's got to get out of the financial trap that he's put himself in with all the bets. But for Dustin Johnson, I mean, he's still got like real mega earning power on the PGA Tour. He's got name brand sponsorships. You know, I mean, he's got big corporate companies that support him. It was not surprising to see Dustin Johnson, the guy that jumped first. But it will be interesting to see what the shakeout is.
It seems to be that DJ was the perfect candidate for this because he's built his personality around I don't give a shit. You know, that's kind of been very on brand for DJ. Like, he goes out there, he walks around the course, he doesn't show any emotion, and he's won kind of everything that you'd want to win. He's won a Masters, he's won the U.S. Open, he's won. I think that's it, but that's two majors he has under his belt, and you know, you get offered, however many, $25 million, I think, something like that. And that's the purse payout. And then you just get married to Paulina Gretzky. I'm sure she has expensive taste. And you have Wayne that can kind of, you know.
Yeah.
They're all good. Family's all good to bring in some more money. I don't think DJ would probably be happier to be out of the spotlight, and he was barely in it.
Right.
But he did have the most staying power. He has the most ability of any of those guys on tour to be able to win.
I agree. No, I agree that he is a big name. I think we saw, who was the other, Kevin Na?
Kevin Na's on there, Graham McDowell. There's some names. A lot of them are not American golfers. It's a lot of international golfers that are over there. Louis Oosthuizen is another name he can play. And so it's obviously Phil, at least on the American net, it's Phil and DJ that are headlining this thing. Kevin Na was in the middle of an interview, and one of the questions being asked got kiboshed by the Live PR team, and he just takes a sip of water and goes, "This is awkward," and got up and left. He's like, "I don't know what to like." They don't know what they're really getting into,
right.
But they saw what those comments were on those checks and said, "Hey, I'll give it a shot."
Yeah. Ari Fleischman's like the PR guy, the former George Bush secretary of press secretary, is like running the PR. Was sitting up on the stage for the press conference yesterday. I mean, it was a strange look at
Speaking of strange looks.
I mean,
Speaking of strange looks.
Phil, man.
I mean, get it together, Phil. That's what I like. Jump, because
Ernie
put it in my face.
He was hanging out with DJ. They got to meet for the first time.
He's
in
in
the
a
back
bad
room.
spot, man.
He's just haggard.
Yeah.
He's tired.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Drugged up.
But at least he gets to... That $200 million will go a long way for him, I would imagine.
It better.
It needs to. Like, he's in a tight spot. The funniest thing was that they wrote that article about him, and he like did a tell-all on his gambling addiction. And then he's like, well, there's also a line between gambling on the golf course and gambling in my personal life. Because on the golf course, you do it because it ups the competition. So he has no interest in quitting gambling if he's on the golf course. He was just like, it's two different things. Like, brother, that's what addiction is. You have to quit it entirely. You can't just kind of do it. And so he's going to still be gambling, and then he'll still be out there.
I just drank one glass of wine.
Right. Well, if I have one, I usually have 10.
So it will be interesting to see how this first event goes for Dustin Johnson, the Live Tour, Phil Mickelson, and the rest of the group, and what the response is this weekend. And really, I think everybody's paying attention to what the PGA is going to do here. I think that they are trying to gear up some legal ramifications because of the decisions that some of these players are making and how it's going to affect the current PGA Tour. So it will be interesting to see what the shakeout is of all of this. Gives you an idea of just kind of where we are in the sports calendar right now, as we're looking forward to talking to our guy Ace Wolf coming in here, Adam Miller, about a little bit more of LSU basketball. Tigers now starting to work out, starting to put the team together. Chemistry starting to come together, as we mentioned. A lot of team breakfast. In fact, Adam Miller will be in before the daily team breakfast that the crew eats together. Just another mechanism on trying to build team chemistry with a group of guys that are relatively unknown to one another. I'm sure when you get to this this point of basketball in your life, odds are you've probably competed against some of these same people that you're playing with or against on the AAU circuit or coming up in the summer leagues that a lot of these high end guys are traveling and playing with. But I mean, now that you've got this collection of talent and crew on one roster, I mean, you've really got to start to take the team building projects and really put them into play, man, because these guys don't know each other. And we'll talk to Miller about that, how they're getting to know one another and what the pickup games are like daily over there inside the LSU basketball practice facility. But this is where LSU basketball is right now in the calendar, and it's off-season training, weightlifting, team get-togethers and team building exercises to try and get to know one another, because basketball to me is a sport that no matter how good the talent is individually, when you get when you get on the floor together, you have to know how and be familiar with how one another plays and what tendencies are. And once you start to figure that stuff out, that really starts to create a better environment, a better ability to just kind of know and be comfortable in your own game. So we'll talk to the Ace about that coming up here.
Do you think that McMahon takes anything from what Will Wade did in terms of like the team building, where they were doing like paintballing, stuff like that, team building Tuesdays? And
I don't think that I don't think that Will Wade put a corner on that. I don't think that was exclusive to him. I think that he was just doing some more things to try and expedite those those experiences for the guys. So I mean, it seemed to work.
Absolutely,
the team was tight. That team was they really liked one another. So I wouldn't be surprised if you. I mean, I know that they ate breakfast together every day. That may be something that he just carried on. Like, hey, what are some of the things that were working? What are some of the things that are already set in place that you don't have to mess with? Like I've said a couple of times, and in fact, we were talking about this yesterday. I was over at Phil's Oyster Bar, and we were talking about. It was sitting with some of the fellas over there, and we were talking about Matt McMahon and Will Wade. And I think there is a misconception, or at least there is a perception that Wade and McMahon may not get along, or they haven't had this. They've got a really good relationship, and when I say really good relationship, they're not tight where they travel together or share text messages weekly, but they knew one another within the coaching industry. Like I said, Casey Long, I believe, is one of the assistant coaches, played for Will Wade at Tennessee Chattanooga. So Wade and Long stayed in contact all throughout, the coaching rise, and was giving him some mentorship and some advice on and while he was coming up. So a lot of those conversations kind of seeped into the Murray State coaching quarters, and McMahon and Wade would share some ideas and phone calls. So they've known one another for a while. And when McMahon got the job here, one of the first calls he made was to Will Wade. Wade picked up the phone, and they had a very extended, candid conversation about, hey, look, this is who you need to know in town. this is who you need to stay away from in town. Here's some of the guys that we would regularly take care of as far as supporters of the program. Here's some people that we believe are supporters of football that also like basketball too, right? I mean, some of those things that you've got to navigate through in Baton Rouge, just in being in a head coaching position at LSU, you need some steering. I mean, Wade tells a great story about his first couple of days in Baton Rouge on just trying to get to know people. He's an outsider, right? I mean, his first time at LSU was at his introductory press conference that day. He never came down and saw the facilities while they were offering him or courting him for the job. So when he got to Baton Rouge, that was the first time he had met everybody. That was the first time he had seen everything. And I mean, your head spins, right? I mean, there's so many groups, there's so many people, there's so many handshakes and business cards and people telling you that they can help you. And there's other people that are, these people are telling you to stay away from. I mean, it's very hard as an outsider with no direction to step into and try and figure out. And Wade was able to kind of, give McMahon a heads up for the traps here. Or, I would go introduce yourself to these people. I would have extended conversations with these people about, how you can make the program better. So that relationship, and I don't even know if people may feel like that, but I do get the feeling that, people wonder is Wade still standoffish or pissed off about the way it ended, or has not been a resource that McMahon could go to. Not to say that McMahon is, calling Wade daily and asking what he needs to do, but they have had conversations just about navigating the landscape of LSU. Like I said, and I believe this, LSU is the only school that would have kept Will Wade when they did, and they're the only school that would have fired Will Wade when they did. Just to give you the idea of the political climate that is always around LSU athletics. Not necessarily just the basketball and not just always football, but it's always there. And that's why I believe that Scott Woodward is the great spot and great fit for the athletics director gig, because he's so well tied politically, or he at least understands how the wheel turns up there at the state capitol and what LSU means to the state, and how he can maximize what LSU gets out of the state by being able to work his political relationships. And it all has to happen for LSU to be right. And those are why I believe some of the key figures are in the right spots now, whether it be Scott Woodward or whether it be Matt McMahon or Kim Mulkey or Brian Kelly or Jay Johnson, whoever it may be. You've got starting to see the right people in the leadership spots for LSU. Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Cajun Ready Mix Concrete, online at CajunRMC.com. Our friends over at Cajun Ready Mix Concrete can help you with any size project. There is no project that is too big or too small over at Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. Online, CajunRMC.com. Residential, commercial, industrial, or municipal, Cajun Ready Mix Concrete provides products and services to meet all of your concrete needs. They've got 9 plant locations around the greater Baton Rouge area, concrete plants around the greater Baton Rouge area, which means if you order concrete from Cajun Ready Mix, they'll get it to you on time and to the exact specification. They're online at CajunRMC.com. CajunRMC.com is where you find them online to learn all about Cajun Ready Mix Concrete, located right here in Baton Rouge, and can help you out, man. They got red carpet service. They got clear safety standards, grade A equipment, and high-quality products. Find out how they can help you today over at Cajun Ready Mix Concrete, CajunRMC.com. CajunRMC.com is where you find them online. Eddie Haskell says, I like this LSU basketball team on paper. It's a well-rounded team. Wade either had too many guards or too many forwards. This team has the right number of guards, forwards, and centers. I agree. I think that Wade even made a comment late in the year that he probably handed out too many big scholarships last season. I think first and foremost, if he had to do it again, he probably would have held on to Jalen Cook and not let him go to Tulane. I'm watching Jalen Cook work out every day over at Red Storm Gym. Lil Jay's over there working out with Chase Stanley and his crew, who do a great job over at Red Storm on the corner of Kenilworth and Perkins Road. And every day, Jonathan Pixley is in there working out guys like Jordan Wright from Vanderbilt. He's got Izzy Besselman, the LSU women's basketball walk-on from Episcopal, is in there every day. Jalen Cook from Tulane is in there every day. And if you've never seen Jonathan Pixley do a basketball workout, it's pretty impressive, man. I mean, he is standing in the middle of three, like, legitimate 94 feet basketball courts. I mean, there are three. If you've never seen the Red Storm complex on the corner of Kenilworth and Perkins, I mean, it's just a basketball shack. It's a sweatshop. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you go in there, you're going to play basketball or play volleyball. And the facilities are fantastic. Great wood, great goals, great facilities. But it's three legal 94 feet basketball courts, and he's standing kind of like in the middle of the facility, and each court, each half of the court has two people working out on it. So there's just two people per half court. So there's 4 per court on that he's running. So 12 people he's standing in the middle of. And they're running just like shooting drills and shot fake, a lot like Kobe. If you've ever seen Kobe's workout on YouTube, you can Google or YouTube Kobe's workout, where he just does. I mean, he would do 1,000 shot fakes a day. I mean, you would see Kobe when he would catch that ball in the wing and he'd shot fake, spin, dribble behind his back, get to the rim. I mean, you can see him doing it right now. It was so much muscle memory for him. I mean, he wasn't even like trying to make that move. His body was just going there because he had done it a million times. I mean, millions and millions of times. And there's some of that work on YouTube that you can find of just his repetition that he would go through. And Pixley puts these guys and these shooters, these basketball players, through just such impressive repetition, fundamental movement of basketball that you just pound, beat over their head time and again. And it's just really impressive. I mean, me and Lil Jay were sitting down watching about 20 minutes before the court turned over, before his team was going to take over practice. And I mean, there was stuff that, now he does in the driveway that's just so easy to take away from it. But it's so you've never seen it taught like that. You've never seen it taught in the way that it was. It was very impressive. Jonathan Pixley does that for a living, that basketball training. He's probably the best in our area in the state that does that. I mean, you see the respect from the guys. Skylar Mays was back there working out with him when he came back in town. Of the guys that come back and work with him and continue to use him as they go off and they end up coming back to him. Jordan Wright, as we said, is a starter for Vanderbilt, played at Dunham, graduated in Stingley's class over there. It's going to be one of the top players for Vanderbilt again coming back this season. I mean, you can see the work he's putting in every single day, and it's just happening right there on the corner of Perkins and Kenilworth. So it'll be interesting to talk to the ace, Adam Miller, coming up here and just see what some of the team-building projects that are going on. But to get back to what you were saying, Eddie, I think that Wade probably wanted a little bit more guard play last season than what he had. We were talking about Jalen Cook. That got me off of it. Got me off on a tangent and watching his workouts. But they really could have used him last year just because of his ability to score. And they got caught in a pretty rough spot after Miller was hurt, of trying to find somebody that they could count on every night to score. And if they would have had a couple of more guards, they probably could have bailed themselves out of that. And I believe, just like you say, I think that they are so well built. And that was one of the things that we talked to McMahon about that was very impressive in building that roster the way that he did. I mean, not only did you have to start from scratch and not have, nearly any players in the locker room, but you also had to pay attention to how you built the team. Like, you had to make sure that it was going to be a functioning team, because there was at one point where LSU basketball, it felt like you take anybody that wants to come, right? Like, anybody that wants to show up, you're going to hand a jersey to. But McMahon and his staff were able to really kind of keep a vision in place while playing like so far behind the 8 ball as far as being able to get out there and recruit. And obviously the transfer portal kind of gives you a little bit of a Hail Mary shot. It gives you at least a puncher's chance of finding some type of ability to build a roster. And they just cleaned up. And not only did they do it by bringing in really good players, they did it pretty strategically, where they were able to kind of build some depth at some key spots and find, the balance of, like you say, the guard play and, and the bigs down low. So I agree with you. I think that it was real cool to see that.
How many players did he bring in from Murray State?
3?
Three.
Three.
It was KJ, Trey, and Justice.
Yeah. I mean, he bought the 3 top players.
Yeah. Right. Because you talk about chemistry and how they want to kind of build up the team. That has to help with having McMahon, having players he's already coached before. You kind of have some people in your corner like, look, whenever you're talking to other people, too, look, what he does works. And, what we did at Murray State works. Like, if y'all are looking to buy in, or you need somebody who does, other than the coach pushing the message, I'd imagine that it helps having 3 guys in your corner that are going to play. And you can kind of help turn the tide a little bit if there's any kind of resentment or anything left over on the table. It helps to have at least some players in your corner.
Yeah, for sure. Remember City Cafe today for lunch. Check them out, citycafebr.net. Lunch specials every day, brunch specials on Sunday. Stop in and see them. Our friends over at City Cafe, citycafebr.net. Over 100 years in business for Dirk, Squeaky, Cody, and the crew over there. citycafebr.net is where you can find them online. CJ McCollum is, we were talking a little bit about this earlier this week, is getting into the media game, and I think that he is beating a lot of active athletes, or he sees what the potential is very early on, and is really making a name for himself within sports media. And yesterday he went toe-to-toe with Stephen A. Smith, and I think that Stephen A. Smith is kind of digging his own grave at ESPN because of what could be coming, now pretty ferociously with active players. You look at what Draymond Green is doing with his podcast. Even J.J. Redick, for what he was doing while he was an active player, kind of set himself up for an instant life after basketball in broadcasting. As C.J. McCollum was going back and forth with Stephen A. Smith yesterday, J.J. Redick was right there sitting next to McCollum, kind of flying co-pilot with him and slapping Smith on the back of the head as well with the takes and kind of breaking him down. Stephen A. Smith is a shock jock. Like, that's how he started, right? Like, he was a writer from Philadelphia covering the NBA. He's a really good writer. He had a big personality, so people would bring him on, their radio shows or their platforms, and then he spun that into a radio show in Philadelphia. Next thing you know, he's got a huge Philadelphia radio presence on the East Coast, and that thing starts to kind of rapidly grow into the bigger markets, right? Where people are picking up and simulcasting his radio show in places like New York and Boston and Philadelphia, obviously up in that part of the country where so many people are rabid sports fans and rabid NBA fans. ESPN recognizes it, puts him on ESPN radio. Next thing you know, he's on SportsCenter. Next thing you know, he's the face of SportsCenter. Next thing you know, he's the face of the NBA, and he's making $7-8 million a year because he's screaming into the television and he's telling you these shock jock takes of things that he believes, and he riles people up, and he has made an incredible career and very, whether you like him or hate him, you have to respect where he is at, right? Like, I mean, he started as a writer for a newspaper in a large market, and now he has spun that into be almost the face of sports talk in our country, and is paid very well for it. I mean, millions and millions of dollars every year. But now with the influx of player movement to get into broadcast, right? The players see Tom Brady's making how much to work at Fox? Mm-hmm. How much did Dan Le Batard get from DraftKings? How much did they make? How much did they give Pat McAfee from his Vegas sponsor? I mean, all these players are seeing this and they're saying, hang on, I can do this. I can run my own media. I can put sponsorships on our name and, have people pay us to promote them and make a life out of this, or life after basketball, or life after sports, or, I mean, the Brandon Marshall I Am Athlete podcast platform that he has provided to both active athletes and athletes thinking about life after their career has really exploded this industry, right? I mean, this industry has gone from a little known and something that people would look at but didn't know and not sure how to get into one of the fastest growing industries in the world. So, I mean, CJ McCollum sees that, hey, I've got a name. I'm the president of the Players Association. He is confident enough to sit on a national platform and go back and forth with a guy like Stephen A. Smith. And a lot of the stuff that Stephen A. Smith says to get to this point, there's really nobody on the set that can check him. There's nobody that's sitting next to him with the credibility or the credentials to say, hang on, man, that didn't make a lot of sense.
Or the job security.
Right.
Because if Stephen A. says, I don't want to work with him, he's making me look like a fool, you're out. Like, I mean, he kind of did it with Max Kellerman. It kind of turned into the Stephen A. Smith show. Yeah. And so now they're bringing in, Stephen A. Smith is bringing in these guests, and they're doing the same thing to him because they have no loyalty to him. They have no loyalty to ESPN or how to make the show either look good or bad for Stephen A. They just go up there and want to speak the truth because they're tired, I'm sure, of having pundits out there that are saying stuff, and they're probably watching TV going, what the? No, like none of this is right. And so if you're able to get onto the platform and speak your truth, and then Stephen A. has to sit there and wear it because he would look awful dressing down an NBA player on national television. So he's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place.
So it's so Stephen A. yesterday has a take about Russell Westbrook being at the opening press conference for Darvin Ham, who's the newly named Los Angeles Lakers coach, and he's pretty critical of it, right? Like he's kind of critical of it because of the stance of where Stephen A. Smith believes the Lakers should be treating Russell Westbrook. Like he believes like he's not good enough. They should have dealt him. He doesn't have any business being there. And CJ McCollum and JJ Redick, like, go back at Stephen A. Smith. I mean, JJ Redick says, you gave an interesting take at the top of your thought, but then after that you danced around it about a bunch of Russell Westbrook fluff and didn't tell me anything on why you believed it was a bad idea for him to be there. So, again, explain to me what you said. And you can see Stephen A. Smith's kind of like, he's like sitting up like, oh, shit,
Were you listening?
I'm getting called out. Like I'm somebody's actually taking my just kind of rambling and yelling into the camera, and so you have to believe I know what I'm talking about, right? And you're just kind of like, yeah, everybody's just kind of nodding their head like, yeah, I mean, it sounds like he knows what he's talking about, but then somebody's like, hang on. Let me take you back to what you just said. Like, that didn't make any sense. Explain what you meant there. And even CJ McCollum now comes off the top rope after JJ Redick swings a punch, and he's like saying, yeah, like, take me to, like, why? And then, like, McCollum hits him with, why would you criticize another African-American man for being at another African-American's successful press conference? And, like, Stephen A's like, whoa.
That's my lane.
Yeah, he's like, whoa. And, I mean, the next thing you know, he's kind of on the mat getting pummeled on his platform. And he's doing it by two very relaxed, very confident athletes.
I'm laughing at Draymond's comment under the post.
What's it say?
It's the new media.
Yeah, I mean, and see, that's got to be more intimidating than anything to Stephen A. and the crew. And maybe not Stephen A., because Stephen A's made his pile of cash, right? And it's going to be, he's not going to be the real one that takes the real loss from it. It's the next Stephen A. that thinks he's going to be the next one in the pipeline. Like Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith have kind of made their money on this platform. right? I mean, like, if you would have told those guys 4 or 5 years ago, hey, we're about to make you multi-millionaires. Like, you're about to get a contract that's worth $7 million a year. They'd have probably like, get the bleep out of here. Yeah, right. Get out of here.
For first take.
Absolutely. Just to yell into a camera and yell into a microphone.
Michael Jordan versus LeBron James 8 days a week.
Yeah, so you've really kind of like duped the system.
Right.
Right? Like, I mean, you've kind of been playing with house money, but now here comes the players with the empowerment of the movement and understanding that the money in the space is athlete real. You know what I mean? Like,
worth their time.
I'll pay attention to that type of money. And the way to do it is kind of beat Stephen A. at his own game. You know, like Stephen A. kind of made his moves on being loud and calling people out and making his way to the top. As an athlete, just call Stephen A. out and see what happens. And look, man, I know I go to Draymond's podcast immediately after the finals games. I'm not going anywhere else. I'm going to listen to what he has to say about being on the front line. And if he's going to give you that type of access, I'm in. I mean, I've been listening to JJ Redick's podcast for a while now. I love All the Smoke podcast. I mean, all of that is just players talking players about frontline, real life stuff. And I mean, look, it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to be praising that because of the industry we're in, but I see it. Those guys have the credibility and they have the staying power and they've got really the draw that you're looking for in this industry. And that's why I've always been a guest guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, from my jump in radio, I've always believed that, yeah, we have to have strong takes and you have to have opinions on what you're talking about, whether it be LSU football or the NFL or, you know, CJ McCollum getting into media. You got to have a take on it. But I'd much rather hear from the subjects, from the guests, from the people that are on the front lines living the life, right? That's kind of been my draw to this business from when I was a young up and comer in this bit. I mean, I wanted to be around the athletes. I wanted to talk to them. I wanted to hear from them. I wanted to hear their experiences and take them to the public. I always believe that I can't be the only one that cares about it like this, and I'm not. You do. Everybody that's in this chat and the people that work around this care about it just like I do. You want to hear from what they're living, talking, practicing, playing. What do they do in their off time? How do they handle this stuff? Make them human beings. Make them relatable, right? And what's more relatable than Draymond Green firing up a podcast, you know, an hour after a basketball game,
in the locker
still
room,
speaking with raw emotion into it, like telling you how he feels about it. I think that
they won't give me 2 texts.
The industry is changing in front of our face, right? Like the grounds are shifting underneath our feet, and media 2 years from now, I mean, on my sales calls, I am trying to inform and educate business owners on what is coming from a digital movement as far as the media is concerned, right? Like the days of buying newspapers, print, television, cable television, radio, dashboard radio that you can, punch off your dial into your dashboard. That stuff's long gone. Like, as far as a business owner thinking into the future of advertising, it's all going digital. It's all going to be on your phone. It's all going to be on your computers. It's all going to be, PPC ads, pay-per-click ads, where you can buy this and get the analytics immediately brought back to you so you can see, hey, I want to touch this demographic. Okay, perfect. They're sitting right here. All you need to do is set your media right here, and you can blast these people and pound them over the head. Because, look, here's where they're sitting. Here's the data. It says so. Right? I mean, sales calls within media is not a sales call anymore if you were properly prepared and, attired with the facts, the data, the knowledge, the things that people are looking for. So, I mean, media in 2 years from today is going to be so polarizingly different than how we digest it right now. It's for some of us, we can't even fathom it. And in 5 years from now, the way that we're just accessing advertisement, media, promotion is going to be so interactive and so capable of almost like VR. I mean, almost like virtual reality.
The metaverse.
Right? I mean, where that's the challenges of what we're doing from a sales standpoint with digital media, but just what is changing in front of us. And I don't think that there's a greater example than these athletes or these professional athletes understanding that this is the space where they need to be, because it's a windfall of cash around people who can promote and market, and it's the wave of the immediate future. We're living in it presently. It's here, but there's still so many of us out there that have no idea about it. It's crazy to think about the people that are really in the world, that live it every day, that are listening to the podcast, that are, accessing your media through your phone and, listening to whatever you want on demand, whenever you want to hear it, however you want to listen to it, whenever you want to watch it. That's how you build it into your schedule. So, these athletes understand that this is the wave of, this is the space to be. They're not sending in their resumes to ESPN and Fox Sports anymore. They're not going to these media training camps while they're active athletes and thinking about being on a desk in a set. They're thinking about how they can wear a t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops and bring you a podcast. And how do I build a studio in my house that I can access 24 hours a day and create content that promoters, advertisers, business owners, decision makers can all sit there and say, hey, we need to be a part of that. Take our budget from traditional radio and television and put it all over here into the digital space. That stuff is happening multi times a day within big companies and small companies all over the world, and specifically right here in this market. I'm having meetings with them all the time. I'm trying to educate people, show them what's going on, show them the capabilities of what we have over here at FM Digital Media. I mean, it's a huge tidal wave of a movement. And people like Draymond and J.J. Redick and C.J. McCollum are at the forefront of it, but I think this is going to be things that you see start becoming the norm. I think that Walker Howard could have a podcast before he leaves LSU. Right? I mean,
and you've seen some of it.
Why not? I mean,
Notre Dame.
I'll never forget. I was talking to, and I can tell you this now that it's behind us. But like when we were talking to Mr. Lee Anderson, Zion's dad, about the video that day that came out. Right? Remember we put out the tweet saying we expect a video to come out at some point this afternoon. Like talking to Mr. Anderson, Lee Anderson. They were talking about like, well, what time should we put it out? And I said, Lee, it doesn't matter if you put it out at 5 o'clock in the morning. He is a media conglomerate by himself. Whenever he speaks, whenever he publishes, whenever he puts anything on the platform, everybody's going to get it. It doesn't matter if it happens at 5 in the morning, 5 in the afternoon, 10 in the morning, or at lunch. You all have the leverage and the power that ESPN, Fox, CNN, all of these major news outlets are waiting on. They're sitting there waiting on you. They got their arms folded, kind of like waiting, like, what's Zion going to do? What's Zion going to do? He's about to put out a video? And the video within 30 minutes, an hour, had 1 million hits. You know, I mean, it didn't matter when you dropped it, how you dropped it, where you dropped it. It was going to play. Because the power is in this right here. I mean, if you've got one of these and you've got a social media channel, platform, YouTube channel, you can speak to the world whenever you want. I mean, whether it's relevant or people care, who knows? I mean, people may not care about the person that's, teaching people how to knit and sew, down the street. But when Zion speaks and tells you that his ankle's okay, he gets 1 million hits in an hour. ESPN would have crawled on glass to New Orleans to shoot that video. They don't have that power anymore. They got to throw Stephen A. Smith on television and just say, yell, scream, bark into the television and the microphone and keep people entertained. But now here comes ESPN and Stephen A. Smith's worst nightmare. People that can call him on his BS. Or at least hold him accountable for what he says. I still think Stephen A's entertaining.
But that's what he is. He's an entertainer now. And it goes two ways. ESPN is getting all the ratings on First Take and having these guys on, but it's also boosting CJ McCollum and JJ Redick and their platform and their podcast. And guess what people are going to run to whenever they leave? They'll be like, oh, I didn't know that they had a podcast. I didn't know that they could do that. So they're using each other. But I think at the end of the day, it benefits the athlete.
Yeah, and I think Stephen A., he's kind of shifting the view because First Take after Max was gone just kind of started to decline. Like
it was Stephen A. Smith's world.
Yeah, and so then they brought in Matt.
Bringing in people like
they brought in Mad Dog to kind of get some of the debate going. But
that's today.
Now he realized that they want to hear from the athletes, so he's willing to, in my eyes, look like an idiot.
Take an L.
So that he can get more money back.
He's made enough money.
Right.
He's got enough money in the bank where he's generationally wealthy now. I mean, like he can take care of a couple of generations of Smiths by the amount of money that he's made off of media in the last couple of seasons, and probably what he stands to make for the next couple of years. Like I said, I don't think that Stephen A. Smith gets swept up into this media hurricane that is sweeping through sports right now. But the next Stephen A. Smith will never exist, right? The next Skip Bayless is not going to be out there. Because you can see, I mean, it started with kind of like KD calling out Skip Bayless on social media, and this is now where it's evolved to where the social media call-outs have become, just give me my own show. I mean, if you're a guy like Draymond, and Draymond's got no problem sitting there telling you how much he can't stand Kendrick Perkins, right? So, I mean, it's this stuff that we would all line up, buy a ticket, and eat popcorn and just watch them go back and forth at one another. They're just doing it on their own now. And they're bringing it to you. Like, I mean, think about what the Warriors PR guy or personnel is like after the game when he's like, hey, Draymond, you got to go talk to the press. And Draymond's like, no, I got to go cut my podcast first. I mean,
I'll do TNT, but that's it.
Yeah, because
I'll go talk to Chuck.
Paying
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'll go talk to them.
Right?
Yeah, that's it.
And I mean, like, what are they going to do? Well, Draymond, if you don't go, the league's going to fine you. Sweet, fine me. I'll have TNT cut him a check. I mean, it's just changing right underneath our feet. A lot of you wondering where Katie is. Katie is on vacation. She was on a girls' trip out on the East Coast. She's also going to be out a couple of days next week.
She's a vacationer.
Didn't leave money for pizza, though.
No.
Didn't?
Nope.
She usually does.
It's tough.
Mom, call her out.
She's listening.
She'll probably Venmo us.
Remember Daily, we're brought to you here by RMB Builders, our friends over at RMB, Rhett Bourgeois and the crew. RMB-builders.com. RMB-builders.com is where you can find them online to find out how you can build a custom design home today. Rhett is doing fantastic work, man. Everybody gets caught up here in town. You got to go with the name brand contractor. Everybody wants that sign out in their front yard showing you that this guy built the house or this person built the house. Man, go with the quality guy. Go with Rhett Bourgeois. Go with the guy that people trust. RMB Builders. He's not showing off the signs because he thinks that it's a social status or a status symbol. He's building you quality work. He's on time. He's speaking with you daily, making sure you know what's going on. He's keeping you under the budget. Find out how you can build, buy, or remodel your home today with Rhett Bourgeois. RMB-builders.com. RMB-builders.com is where you can find them online. We'll be back with the second hour coming up here. Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com.
Do you have questions about your finances? Are you looking for recommendations from a skilled financial advisor? Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. You can find him easily by logging online and shooting him an email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That is daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Whether it is help with your 401k or just fiscal advice heading into the new season, get in touch with Daniel today. Best way to do it? Email him, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our experienced financial advisor. Let him be yours, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Roll-Offs know your desired delivery date, and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Roll-Offs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
All right, we were just talking about the change in media, and it's happening right here in Baton Rouge. LSU Gold, if you saw this, LSU is launching a subscription-based streaming service called LSU Gold. It'll feature behind-the-scenes documentaries, in-depth interviews, premium podcasts, and more. That was announced by the university on Monday. The platform will include a series that follows head coach Brian Kelly around in his inaugural season in Baton Rouge, documenting his arrival in December through the 2022 season. The Tigers aren't the only program to create a streaming service that offers fan-exclusive content. Notre Dame's done it, Maryland's done it, Oklahoma State, Clemson, and Arkansas recently announced similar services. LSU's subscription runs $8.99 per month, the same price as Oklahoma State's OSU Max, which launched in April. LSU Gold. Will you subscribe? Put it on the poll, Scooby. Southern Eye Center poll question here of the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember Southern Eye Center over there on Jefferson Highway. Dr. Ann Shaw has a great team over there that can help you get your vision right. Can also give you a wide selection of sunglasses, all the name brands, and you'll take 25% off if you just mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Find them on Jefferson Highway, brand new, sparkly, clean office, as you can find them over there at Southern Eye Center of Baton Rouge. But poll question: will you pay the subscription fee for content from LSU Gold? Yes or no? But this is another example of just to give you an idea of how the things are changing right in front of our face. As LSU probably looks at a lot of people in this industry that feed off of their personnel, feed off of their coaches, their players, their stories, and they probably said in-house, hey, we should do something where we can go to advertisers and endorsers and ask them for their ad dollars, because we can create all of that in-house. We'll see and talk to some of the players with this coming up over the next couple of days and into next week to see some of the thought processes behind it. But another example of just what's going on as far as the media is concerned on the ever-changing climate of sports broadcast.
Do you think that some of this content that will be like the Showtime that Brian Kelly was on, do you remember the college football, will it be like that intense, or just kind of here's like more of what they've already been doing, now they're just putting it behind a paywall? If it's going to be like 35-minute episodes of LSU football, that's something that I would imagine people would pay for. If they're transitioning from the videos that they put out, that they did earlier in the year with Brian Kelly and like the spring practice and all that stuff, then I think people are just going to be kind of like, where's the LSU content?
LSU controls the story here, right? I mean, that's one thing when you are when you move into this space, you control what people view you as and the story and how it goes. So I don't know how much they'll give you. I don't know how much in-depth they'll give you with the Brian Kelly stuff. I don't even know if they have the production capability. I mean, you're talking about a Showtime budget and Showtime personnel as far as the creative goes. Look, they got a lot of talented, young, energetic people over there in the video department of LSU sports. So, maybe they can produce something like that. I just don't know if they would go that in depth and show you all of the things that you want to see, like a Hard Knocks, right? I mean, I think that was the baseline for even the show. I believe it was like All Access,
All or Nothing.
Yeah, All or Nothing on
Showtime.
On Showtime, but I don't know if you're the school, if you're going to allow that type of
access,
that access to the public, and that's one thing that you have to be cognizant about,
especially in college football,
or just really in college sports,
college athletics, because I mean, you saw even when head coach Lane Kiffin was at Tennessee, and he had ESPN film around for a day. He committed like 3 recruiting violations on camera, and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing what I normally do during my day, and ESPN's not going to let you. They're like not going to not air it. But if you have LSU, you can kind of control that content and cut out what you want to cut out. But it's just a lot of work on the back end.
Yes. So we will we'll see. We got the poll question up from Southern Eye Center. Remember, you can find them on Jefferson Highway, and they'll help you out with anything that you may be needing as far as your vision goes. And as we said, if you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, they can help you with a great sunglass selection that has all the name brands coming up. Anybody see Mike Thomas working out, New Orleans Saints? He's working out. I thought that this was kind of like he was past this. Like I gotta be honest. Like I mean, like when we were celebrating him just sprinting in the open field. I mean,
this is running like he looks like he forgot something in his locker.
I'm not trying to be critical. I mean, it is a good sign by all means. I mean, I love to see that Thomas. I mean, he's got it opened up and he is covering ground, and it looks like he's moving full speed. But I mean, if we're celebrating this now, okay, I'm in. But I was kind of way past this point. I thought for sure that he would. I mean, there's never been a question from a health standpoint on whether I believed that Mike Thomas was going to be ready or not. But just from whether or not like this late in the process you're still celebrating him sprinting.
Running full speed. I thought we were at pads in the helmet.
I thought
he was going to be at practice. I thought he was ready for OTAs.
Me too. But this is where we're at. I guess this is where we're at.
It's Michael Thomas's world. We're all just living in it.
So Michael Thomas is good. The Wolf has just walked in. Adam Miller. We'll have a short interview with him. Get him to team breakfast coming up here this morning, and we'll talk next to him here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. What up, Ace? Good.
Every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mic'd Up. Catch us live every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. We got Lloyd in the house, Jay Mitch is in here a lot of the time. It's a fun show, great show. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like it, it's fine. Make fun of us, it's okay. Just get us out there, share us out there. We having fun, we want to share our fun with you. Like I said, Mic'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Every Monday through Wednesday, 11 to 1. Catch us live on YouTube, baby. See y'all.
Southern Eye Centers, located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out, southerneyecenters.com, and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Ghost Chevrolet, joined in studio by two LSU basketball players, one returning to Baton Rouge, and that was huge news that we talked about last week with the ace, Adam Miller, coming back to Baton Rouge off the injury, got healthy. It was announced earlier this week, free and cleared to individual and team workouts, so we'll talk to him about that. And then Cam Hayes from NC State, who transfers in to Matt McMahon's new LSU basketball roster, a very exciting piece that was added in the offseason after a really good freshman season with the Wolfpack. It's good to see you, man. Good. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, and it's good to see the ace Adam Miller back here with us. Good to see you, bro.
Yep.
Cam, let's start with you, man. A little bit about your decision and how you ended up in Baton Rouge.
Well, I just decided, it's better for me to transfer and go somewhere else. And when Coach Mack and them just came and called, I just liked how, the program they had at Murray State was a winning program. And I saw, the pros he put in the league, like John Morant and other people. So I felt like it was the best opportunity for me. And then the pieces that he was bringing in and the pieces that would stand at LSU, I just felt like it was the best fit for me.
Early return. I know you've been down in Baton Rouge here just a couple of weeks. What has it been like to be in the program and kind of starting some of these off-season training activities that I know is coming up for you guys here shortly?
It's been smooth. I like how, he runs everything. It's like a professional thing. He keeps it, casual, he doesn't have any slack. And then, BR is cool. It's just hot.
Hot,
I ain't used to that. I ain't used to that heat. But
where are you from?
Cool. I'm from North Carolina.
So you're from North Carolina?
Yeah.
So it doesn't touch this in the humidity.
Nah, it be touching 90, but the 90 here feel like
it's different.
Yeah, it ain't
different.
the same type of heat.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, it ain't the
it's
same.
it's 90 degrees at 5 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean?
I woke up. It was 8 o'clock. Go to breakfast 80 degrees. I'm like, why is it like this?
Right. Have y'all started doing any training outside yet?
Yeah, we did it yesterday.
On the track.
Everybody curious on how you feeling, bro? How you feeling? I saw earlier this week, I know John Rothstein from CBS Sports tweeted out that you were clear, and I think that people, after our conversation last week, kind of felt that you were ready to go 100%. You worked out and trained a little bit yesterday, and after that announcement, how's the knee feeling? How are you as far as your status?
Oh man, sure, I'm feeling good. I think it's crazy because I haven't put any real film of my workouts out yet, but I think if people saw what I was doing, they'd be impressed. Like I said, I feel good, man. I didn't even know John was gonna post that, so thank you, John, if you ever see this. But so I'm ready to just get back to it. I think the biggest thing for me and the mental hurdle I'm gonna have to get over is I don't want my teammates to be too far along ahead of me. Yeah. But even though I have to, you know what I'm saying, it's a game, I got to play it. I'm going to be with them. And then sometimes it's like, baby, feed me. But, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to do my part because I want my teammates to have trust in me.
How do we overblow the team building process with so many new faces and bringing them together and the things that you guys are like the team breakfast and the team workouts, how much that goes into kind of building the team chemistry and helping you on the floor? Do we overemphasize that, or is that a big deal for what's going on right now in the program?
So I guess I guess when I think about teams that I've been on that I've won a lot, we were together a lot. So I don't think that's, like overstepping anything. I feel like it just shows that, these coaches are dialed in on, making a team. You know what I'm saying? On the basketball standpoint. But we got to be good on the basketball standpoint. But if we're not together and we're not locked in, we're not going to do much. You know what I'm saying? We're only as strong as our weakest link. So I feel like it's a great emphasis on it, and Coach Mack is doing a great job of it. You know what I'm saying? Players are being on time, players are getting their job done, and players are coming in showing us a smiling face. So you know what I'm saying? We're gonna have a good program.
What's that point of view like for you, Cam? All new faces, everybody coming together and trying to build that chemistry without playing. I mean, I know you guys are playing a lot of pickup right now, but just the things that are going on outside of that part of the game.
I think it's good because we all got to get familiar with one another. I mean, like transfers, people from Murray, and the returners, it's like a whole new team, and it's a whole new coaching staff. So, going to team breakfast, having pickup and stuff, it just making us way more closer and stuff. And then off the court, we hang out with each other. We live with each other. So we're going to be with each other all year long. So just go ahead and starting that off early. I feel like it's going to be good for us to build everything on the court and off the court.
Yeah. Ace, take me to some of those workouts. What I know that they're not going up on video, but what are some of the things that you're doing right now? Pull that microphone up on you, Ace.
Oh, my bad.
No, you good, babe.
That's good right there.
You as close as you want it.
But basically, like, I don't know. It's been like the stuff that most of my teammates do. I've been doing like finishes, shooting. The shot's still there, still cash.
Yeah.
Y'all would be impressed.
Yeah.
Pro level shot. I think for me, it's just like I think now I'm just trying to get ready for like a full practice. Like individual workouts, smashing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now I think it's just time to get that, that practice, what's the word? Not durability, but, just get like
stamina?
Yes. Get that stamina back with my knee, you know what I'm saying? Being ready for a game, you know what I'm saying, 30 minutes, 25 minutes, 30-plus minutes a game, and, just getting ready for everything that comes with the game, jumping and landing all night, rebounding, boxing out, because you use your legs all night. So
yeah.
I think that's where I'm at right now, you know what I'm saying, but I'm not really missing a beat right now.
More mental right now to overcome than physical?
Probably. Now that I think about it, yeah, probably.
Like the jumping and landing stuff? I'm sure you're thinking about it when you're taking off and you're coming down?
Yeah, because I took off I was taking off harder because we were like full speed with the team and coaches like this. So, I was taking off a little harder, so I was a little bit more sore today. But I know that's good because that means I'm pushing myself.
Cams, how the pickup games? How's the competitive level?
Played pickup once. It was real competitive. And like you could tell, like if people don't like to lose. Me, I don't like to lose. I'm a sore loser. So
sure.
My team, I ain't gonna say how the pickup went, but it wasn't how I wanted it to go. So
right.
I probably ain't talked to the other team like the rest of the day. But then we play pickup today, so I'm gonna get back today.
Okay.
But other than that, pickup's been smooth. Practice and all that stuff been smooth as well.
Yeah. He was one of the best freshmen in America his freshman year at Illinois. When he went into the portal, everybody was coming after. He was the number one player in the portal the year he went in. What was it behind your decision? What was your year like at NC State, and what kind of drove you to the portal?
My sophomore year, it started off really good, actually. I was averaging double digits, playing like 20, 25, 30 minutes. And then, it was just a coaching, he just decided, he wanted to go a different direction. And, like, as a player, it kind of hurt, but, like, me being more mature and stuff, it's not like I quit on my team or I pouted about everything. I just kept it pushing, kept making sure that I was being a good teammate on and off the court. And then at the end of the season, I just felt like, I need to go seek out somewhere and have a better opportunity. And then I just entered the transfer portal.
What do you think about the SEC?
Big, physical. It's a lot of pros in the SEC like the ACC, but I feel like it's more physical than the ACC. And the ACC is more finesse, more up and down kind of style. But SEC is more, physical, kind of a little bit more plays and stuff. But I like the SEC.
Do you have to change your body for that? Do you have to become a little bit more physical, a little bit more? Yeah.
I put on like 10, 15 pounds going into my sophomore year. I probably lost like 10 already, but I know I got to bulk up a little bit more because it's more physical than the ACC.
Where are you on that? Are you at your playing weight? Do you feel like you want to add more weight, or do you need to take any off? Where are you from a
No,
physical standpoint?
I remember my playing weight. I mean, I got that back faster than I thought. I think it's just keep continuing to build muscle mass for me. I was pretty bulky last year.
Yeah.
It looked like I played football, DB or something, but I'm going to get it back. It's slowly coming. I'm slowly starting to find back out, so I'm not worried. It's all going to come.
Yeah. Two of the tops of LSU basketball going into the season, Adam Miller and Cam Hayes stopping in this morning before a team breakfast, before one of those team-building exercises. Has the leadership started to kind of form on this team already? Are you starting to see who's some of the leaders in the locker room? I'd imagine that you were probably one of those.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always communicating, you know what I'm saying? I'm always trying to, be the big brother, especially for, like, the freshmen, because, they just don't know some things. I feel like Cam has become a leader. He shows up to everything early, comes in to get his work done, and even in workouts, he's pushing me to be better, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were doing spots the other day, and, like, we were going back and forth. And then, you got Juice, Trey Hannibal, KJ, who's been with this coaching staff, so they know their knowledge, and I feel like everybody has done their part, and I feel like everybody's going to find out into their roles. Different pieces here and there.
A lot of cool stuff on the horizon for LSU basketball. It feels like this roster is a very competitive group going into the offseason and going into next year with what Matt McMahon has done, and two of these guys sitting next to me are huge pieces to that. Cam Hayes, Adam Miller, great to see you guys in studio. Thank you for always stopping by. And we will see you soon here. When we come back, we will have Senator Rick Ward, who is in studio with us, wrapping up the legislative session earlier this week. We'll talk to him about some of the outcomes and what to expect, and him stepping away from his time in politics and what he's learned over the last 10 years. We'll talk to him next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, which is always driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Appreciate it. All right, welcome back here at Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. As always, you can find them online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. Appreciate Adam Miller, Ace Wolf, for stopping by here, finally getting it right. And our guy Cam Hayes, who transferred in from NC State. Good to see a couple of the new faces, or at least some of the faces of LSU basketball going into this offseason, as the Tigers and Matt McMahon have done a tremendous job of building a competitive roster in a short turnaround time that I think you could probably write a book or make a documentary about with what Matt McMahon was kind of the hand he was dealt to what he has kind of got it going into the offseason and what could be for LSU basketball with you get a look at Adam Miller, who's definitely one of the leaders, and Cam Hayes, who transferred in after 2 seasons at NC State. We move the conversation now to one of our friends of the show who has been by here a couple of times, and it's good to catch back up with him after another grueling legislative session that wrapped up earlier this week. It is good to see our friend Senator Rick Ward out of District 17, who stops back by with us here in studio here on this Wednesday morning. Senator, it is good to see you, sir. Thank you for stopping by. Good morning.
Yeah, thank y'all for having me. Always excited to come and visit.
Absolutely. So news earlier this week, you put out on your social media after a decade within the legislature, you were stepping away from your political seat, but going to stay around the arena. What was it that brought you to a very difficult decision, I'd imagine?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, for me, I always like to have long-term goals to work towards, and really kind of a two-part thing was one, I really wanted to see a large investment in our infrastructure around the state, and we've done some really good things with that over the last 4 or 5 years, and then kind of the finality of that for me was seeing some funding source put in place for a new Mississippi River bridge. Yep. And we finished that work up this session. Not that it's completed, but that we have the revenue streams and the down payment to get that going. And so really with 1 year left, my long-term goals were kind of done and accounted for. So it was just a good opportunity for me to take advantage of some opportunities outside the Capitol and the private sector, and so it was just a good time for me to move on.
How much has the process, or how much have you seen change in the last decade?
Unfortunately, a tremendous amount, and the reason I say unfortunately is we spend so much of our time on the, I guess, political hot button issues, the things that drive the headlines and catch people's attention, but really don't affect your daily life as much as you think. It riles people up on Facebook and Twitter, but it doesn't really change the road you drive on, or the taxes you pay, or the economy you have to go try and make a living in. So it's become a lot more difficult to get the most necessary things done. And I think for someone that came in around the time I did or prior to that, it has gotten more frustrating to work within the process, for sure.
The bridge being one of those highly debated topics. Mm-hmm. You mentioned that you leave your seat with the confidence that it's going to happen.
Sure.
Can you update our listeners on where that process is and kind of where and how it got to the point that it's at now?
Yeah, and I'll kind of start back at the beginning of that. Back in, I guess 4 years ago, we put in place the Road and Bridge Authority that was really set up to try and start the process of locating where the bridge should go and how it should be funded and things like that. And people get so frustrated, and understandably so, because they feel like the bridge has been studied 50 times.
I mean,
the reality is, unfortunately, a study of it has never been completed. And whenever we say a study of it, we don't mean whether we should have it or whether
Sure.
we need it. But the federal government requires all these things to happen and come to completion before you could ever even get the permits to try and build it. And I use this example all the time. If Warren Buffett or Bill Gates flew down here and cut us a check for $2 billion until this process is done, we can't build it.
Wow.
And so we're about, we just completed some of the first phases of that, and there's about a year and a half or 2 years left of that, which is good timing because we just, as we ended this session, we've allotted $300 million as a down payment. What we hope to do with that $300 million is take it and go draw down, if we're fortunate, another 150 or 200 million in federal funds, and then layered on top of that, we passed another bill that will send roughly 40 or 50 million dollars a year to the bridge until it's complete. So you can bond that revenue stream out and go build the bridge when everything is in place that allows you to physically start. So it's a very lengthy process. It's frustrating. It's frustrating to try and explain to the general public. Not that you get frustrated with them, but it's just so much that goes into it that it's hard to explain why these things take so long. And the truth of it is, most everything that takes these projects so long has nothing to do with the state side of things and everything to do with federal red tape. And
that's got to be more frustrating to deliver that message too.
It is, because there's nothing we can do about that.
You're in a helpless place.
That's right. We could assign every dollar that's needed, and still they'd say, okay, well, after we study it for 24 months, then y'all can get started. And that 24 months is if we don't hit some roadblock that makes us take another 18 months and look at that one little piece.
Damn.
So it's just, and then you do that. So let's say you have a $100 million project. Well, after they study it for 3 years, it's turned into $150 million. So you don't have the right amount of money anymore.
Wow.
So it's always a moving target, and that can be difficult. And honestly, I think that's why a lot of people over the years have just said, well, somebody will do that later. But look, we talked before we went on air about just some of the younger group of guys that we've had, and I've been fortunate to work with. And one of the things I've enjoyed the most about working with all of them is we've all taken the approach, look, let's just start working on this. If it doesn't happen until we're all long gone, that's fine, but somebody has to start it. And so it might as well be us.
Do you believe if we speak in the next decade that they'll have a new bridge?
I do. I really do. I think once ground is broken, you're looking at maybe 5 to 7 years or so, and I think that can happen in the next 2 to 3 years. So I think there's a high likelihood that in the next 7 or 8 years we're driving over a bridge.
Everybody was paying attention to the NIL legislation over the last couple of seasons, over the last couple of sessions. Last year was a big win because it was legalized and we were able to formate as a state and really put together a really good plan.
Yeah.
Right. But it needed some editing here during this legislative process. Can you explain the bill, how it originated and now into its current state to where it will be legislated now?
Yeah, I think what was so important about this year's legislation is, let me step back. Last year was very important because you had to have something in place at the state level so our universities could compete. And you get that in place, and then you look around at what the surrounding states, or not just the surrounding states, but the states that you compete with in terms of athletics, and you see how they were even less restricted than we were. And so in order for us just to have a level playing field and be able to match up with them, we had to go back in and change things. Otherwise, all our coaching staffs that are going out there to recruit and our universities that are trying to compete against states around the country just would have been at a major disadvantage. So it's funny because it passed through so quietly this year. I think there was a little bit of discussion about it, but there was almost no pushback on it.
This is a difficult question to ask, but I know that it affects you because you have children.
Sure.
How does news of a school shooting touch politicians?
Oh, it's tough. I mean, we were, in fact, the day that the shooting in Texas happened, we were actually I was sitting in a committee that was hearing a bill dealing with concealed carry, and you can make the argument that the two aren't exactly related, but just from a perception standpoint, it's really hard. I don't think any of us knew what was going on until maybe we walked out, but it's hard to find what that balance is. You know, we all have kids in school or in a lot of cases up there grandkids, and you certainly don't want to do anything that seems insensitive to that topic, but then trying to figure out how do you really address it, because I don't know that anybody really knows how you address that issue. It feels like to me it's some societal changes that need to happen as much as anything else, and I don't know how you really approach that. It's just like with all the crime in general that we're seeing, whether it be in just a lot of the major cities. I know we're having our share of it here in Baton Rouge, and of course I know New Orleans is having a lot of issues. It feels like just as a society we need to step back and see how do we address this, because in a lot of cases there's some things in life you can't change with legislation, I guess is what I'm trying to summarize. And so what can we do, and how can we help? And sometimes even as a lawmaker you feel helpless because you feel like no matter what you pass, you don't know if it's going to help the situation.
Yeah, it's tough to find the grassroots of the problem.
That's right.
Yeah. Sharing a little time here with Senator Rick Ward, who, after a decade in legislation, has decided to step away from it after a really impactful decade run. What the relationship between the state and LSU? How have you seen that change with Scott Woodward being put in place as a athletics director? His background being in politics.
That's right. No, I think LSU has done a really good job in the last two sessions of making their way back into a place where I feel like they'd really gotten to where the legislature as a whole was pushing back on them quite a bit, and I feel like that has started to come back around to where we as a legislature are really trying to embrace what LSU wants to do and fund some of the things that need to be funded in a bigger way. And you know, we went through really 8 years of higher education in general being hit really hard, and so we're sort of coming back to a place where we're reinvesting in higher education, and LSU they had some really good things happen for them this session in particular, and I'm happy to see it. I graduated from LSU, and so a lot of times when you sit in the chamber and you see LSU struggle to try and get some of their needs met, and sometimes you know it's just strictly a financial thing in terms of states' dollars and cents, and then other times you know it's a political thing and where things are politically. So I'm happy. Scott's done a great job. I think the team they've assembled to work with everyone at the Capitol's just been really good, and I think they'll keep headed in the right direction.
You were one of those guys that came in that had this reputation over the last 10 years of a new face, a young, a hungry, a go-getter type of mentality in politics. It seems like there are more of you guys in there now, more of you people like that minded in there. We're close with Stefanski, who comes in here and gets us up to date on some of the stuff that's going on. As you leave that process behind, do you feel confident that there are enough decision makers and policy makers with that mindset where change could really be on the horizon for Louisiana?
I think so. I think, look, I I'm not a huge fan of term limits, but one of the things that it has provided is a younger group of people, and not just it's not even just an age thing. What it is once you get in there, if you spend so long where you just it could be easy to fall into the system and say, well, let's not try and change this. Well, why not? Well, it's the way it's always been done. Well, okay, well the way it's always been done has us ranked 49th out of 50.
Yeah.
So what do we have to lose? And so I think, but when you're there too long, you can get comfortable with that. It's a comfort zone that's hard to leave. And so I do think that you'll continue to see some folks that are going to come in and are willing to try new things. And it's unfortunate that we're at the bottom on so many things. The flip side of that, or the positive side to that, is, from my opinion, you really can take some risk and try and do some really good
create change,
new things, because you don't have much to lose. It's not like when you're 25th or 27th. There's some struggle there, because you could slip and go to 50th. You might make a big jump, but you might not. We don't have that problem. I mean, the worst we can do on almost across the board is go to 50th. In some cases, we're already 50th as well. So I think that you'll continue to see that. My only concern really is that there's so much outside money that gets involved in the election processes now that it's become harder and harder to elect independent thinkers.
Yeah.
And that's really what you need to make some of the biggest changes that are needed.
What's next for you?
I'm going to stay around the process. I'll be, I guess, starting down a path of doing some public relations type work, governmental relations. I'm sure at some point that'll turn into some lobbying work as well. But I've really enjoyed learning the process, and that's kind of given me some avenues to explore in the private sector, and that's where I'm headed. So I'll be around. It won't be as visible, but I'll still be here and trying to improve things and make things better for the state.
Senator, thank you for your service. Thank you for your time this morning and your insight. We appreciate the relationship and you coming back.
No, thank you. It's always a pleasure to come.
Absolutely.
Love the show.
Senator Rick Ward checking in with us here this morning. When we come back, we'll close it out. Remember, our conversation brought to you by our friends over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. Go check out Fresh Chef Kitchen. That is prepared meals for you that are done. We get ours dropped off on Monday. We cannot express to you how convenient it is. We've got the breakfast, lunch. Everybody's over here working throughout the mornings and days, and you're able to just kind of pop one into the microwave and get a healthy, made with love and passion, prepared meal by Chef Shane and the crew over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. They have a business and a storefront for you over there on Airline Highway, 17411 Airline Highway, or online at freshchefeats.com, freshchefeats.com. We'll close it out when we come back here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Jesus Christ, that right there is the mail. Now let's talk about the mail. Can we talk about the mail, please, Mac? I'm dying to talk about the mail with you all day, okay? I gotta go up to his office. I gotta put his mail in the guy's goddamn hands.
But they have been asking for their mail on a daily basis. It's all they're talking about up there.
Because the mail never stops. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. There's never a let-up. It's relentless. Every day it piles up more and more and more, and you gotta get it out. But the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in. And then the barcode reader breaks, and it publishes clearinghouse.
All right.
I can't believe I'm gonna be a mailman.
All right, get to your mailbag questions here before we get out of here at 9 o'clock. Quick shout out to Cam Hayes and Adam Miller for stopping in here into the studio and catching us up on what was the latest on LSU basketball. A lot of team building exercises for the crew right now before they get into small season training. And then Senator Rick Ward stepping away from a decade of service in politics and heading to the private sector. Was stopping in and letting us know about that bridge. Jeez.
Oh, God. My head visibly.
Politics.
Yeah.
My head hung because he doesn't heard that was just God.
Do you think we can get it built in the next decade? Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe so. Probably so. Yeah,
Probably 2030.
Just
2040.
We'll have flying cars by then. Don't even worry about the bridge.
Mailbag questions. How we looking? What we got?
So first one, a college football game you are most excited for besides LSU.
Jeez, I mean, it really should be an LSU game you're excited for because, I mean, I think the most excitement in college football has to be October 8th with A&M and Bama, right? I mean, just because of the Real Housewives of Saban and Fisher.
Right, the Real Housewives of the SEC.
Yeah, for sure.
But do you think that you don't think it dies down a little bit, or it'll ramp back up as soon as
the media will ramp it up?
Yeah.
I think those two are done with it. I think that they had gotten they got the memo from Sankey. They understood that they probably said a little too much. Saban has apologized. Fisher is, I think Fisher's a little embarrassed. I think internally, like the further you get away from it,
he woke up in the morning.
Damn.
Ooh.
I burned that bridge with Saban.
Was my lip quiver?
Yeah, I torched that bridge with Saban, didn't I?
That's gonna be harder to rebuild than the bridge we're trying to build now.
No, I think that bridge is probably impossible now.
Done.
I think Saban, like internally, is probably like, okay.
And they're gonna hate the lead up to that game because that's all they're gonna ask about. And say, I'm done answering it.
Yeah.
You're gonna see that same Nick interview with the Jalen Hurts Tua thing. Keep asking me these questions.
The real play would be whoever the sideline reporter is that night.
Oh.
Who would that be? Jamie. Who's the CBS front? Who's the first crew? The Brad Nessler.
Is it Storm?
Is it whoever the sideline reporter is? If she was to ask Saban when they get that exclusive right before kickoff, you know what I mean? Like
that would take so.
Yeah, right. Coach, did you say anything to Jimbo before the game?
Jamie Erdahl.
Jamie Erdahl. I
Yeah.
know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Like, I mean, anything about this, he probably cussed them out on air.
I mean, it's about as you would to ask that question. You would have to have the confident job security that Jimbo had to call the press conference.
Think they shake
Which
hands?
I think Erdahl does.
Yeah.
I mean, she's good at her job.
What you should do is you should hope Lane Kiffin's got a bye week and you hire him for a day.
Bring him into the booth. Yeah, absolutely.
That would be fantastic. Or you ask Lane during his game what he thinks about A&M and Bama.
Because he would answer you, too.
No doubt he would.
100%.
You got a score for me?
Yeah.
Get your popcorn ready.
Right. Has Saban beat his ass yet?
Yeah. Should have said that.
What we got next?
Cordell Music asked, Jordy, do you have any stories of Marcus Spears in high school?
Marcus Spears is one of the best athletes ever to come out of Baton Rouge. Ever. Won a state championship football game. He caught a touchdown pass, threw a touchdown pass, had a sack, fumble, scoop, and score for a touchdown, and I think they won 21-0.
He scored all the points.
Scored all the points. And then 2 or 3 nights later, after he dominated the state championship game, he went and played for Southern Labs basketball team, and Mike Krzyzewski was sitting in the front row.
Wow.
He had a Duke committable offer to play basketball out of high school, did Marcus Spears. One of the best basketball players I have ever seen play in this area, and he was a first-round pick in the NFL. I mean, just to give you an idea of how good of an athlete his was. Him and Michael Clayton's AAU team was they were tough, man. They were tough.
That sounds fair.
To match up with. Clayton and Spears were the two best athletes in the state in 2001, and were the headliners to Saban's first real recruiting class. Like Marcus Spears, Michael Clayton, and Marquise Hill were the three guys that LSU had to get in the 2001 recruiting class to really be like the backbone of the group. And 2 years later, Marcus Spears was the defensive MVP of the national championship game, where he had a pick six. And the story goes, Bo Pelini told the story when he got to LSU of what was his recollection of LSU, and he said he remembers the 2003 national championship game, and on the opening drive of the second half, Jason White, who was the Heisman Trophy winner, takes a 3-step drop and tries to throw an out route to the sideline, and Marcus Spears steps back in coverage with his hand in the dirt off a defensive end, backs up, picks it off, goes 21 yards into the end zone, outruns like a running back to get to the pylon, like falls down on the pylon, and Brent Venables, who's the defensive coordinator at the time for Oklahoma, is yelling into the headset, "How in the fuck did the cornerback break on that ball?" And Pelini said, "Coach, that's the defensive end."
We're fucked.
He was like, "Oh shit." And I mean, just to give you an idea of how that interception too was, it hit him in the face, and he caught it and flipped his hips and outran Oklahoma's offense to the pylon to score in the national championship game. And I'm telling you, he was as good of a basketball player as he was a football player. And whoever close to him told him, I'll never forget, I was like, how did you decide? Because him, Corey Webster, and Michael Clayton went out for LSU basketball for 3 days, and Brady ran them into the ground. Like, they quit. I think Clayton was like puking. The only one that was going to make it maybe was Corey Webster. Like, Marcus Spears and Michael Clayton were like, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not. It was a different type of shape. Mm-hmm. And I think Corey Webster made it for like a day or two longer, but after that he hung it up. But those three were as good of a basketball prospect as they were football prospects. Clayton was probably more identified as a football, but he was, there was a stretch during AAU and while he was at Christian Life, he was unguardable as a basketball player. And then those three played together on the same AAU team, and
ran the state.
And Spears was the best one. Spears was the one that you couldn't guard, that everybody was trying to find an answer for, because he had that big old ass. He had that big space maker. You know what I mean? He had like a Glenn Davis ass, but he was a first round pick at defensive end. You know what I mean? He was so good. He was so good.
Space maker.
It's kind of a testament to Nick Saban. They could out recruit Coach K.
I think Saban was the one that told him, have you ever seen a 6'5" power forward in the NBA?
Fair enough.
But I can list you a lot of millionaires that are 6'5" defensive ends. And Spears, actually, they duped Spears. They signed Spears as a tight end because Spears wanted to play on offense. Yeah. And if you go back to the LSU-Tennessee game in 2001, the one that Rohan always talks about that they should have won, and they should have won that game. That was the first game after 9/11. 9/11's game got canceled the week before, and then LSU played Tennessee the week after, and it was the first Saturday after games were resumed on 9/11. It was an incredible atmosphere for college sports. That was the night that Michael Clayton caught his first touchdown pass at LSU. If you go back and watch that or look at the stat sheet, Marcus Spears had one catch for like 4 yards. He caught an out route at tight end. And then, I think it was after that, Saban was like, "All right, we got you in the building. You're not going to leave. You're not going anywhere. We're about to make you a defensive end.
Make you block a lot on offense.
You need to gain 20 pounds. Forget about catching touchdowns, and you're going to be a millionaire and a first round pick in 3 years."
Listen to me.
Yes. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
That's what he did. I mean, he made it happen. Hunter Fournette, hashtag great ass. Hashtag great ass. Marcus Spears.
We should make shirts. At this point, we should make shirts.
Yeah.
Like hashtag great ass.
We need a Mount Rushmore of asses.
I don't know if he'd be on it because he had a big man's ass.
Yeah.
You know what
Thick.
I mean?
Wide ass.
Yeah. 3 C's. 3 C's. Thick.
Yeah.
But it was a space maker. You know,
Perfect for basketball.
Like Big Baby. That was the deal between Big. I mean, Big Baby be like, how is he 6'6" and getting all these rebounds? Because you can't get over that ass. You got to go over. You got to go over his back to get over him.
The round mound rebound.
Yes. What else we got?
LG said, "Is Harold Perkins the best running back on the roster? Need to get him on the show, Jordy."
God, Harold does no media. Zero media. Everybody around him does media. He does no media. His running back highlight tape is like Marcel Brooks. Marcel Brooks to me is one of the best highlight films I have ever seen. I mean, he tackles everybody and he scores all the touchdowns. I mean, like he plays offense at every quarterback, running back, wide receiver. At defense, they have him at linebacker, defensive end, safety. He returns the punts, he returns the kicks, he punts, he kicks the field goals. He does everything.
Fills up the Gatorade, paints your mama's
drives
fence.
the bus.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he can pass.
I mean, he can do it all. And Harold Perkins' film is like that.
And that's Uncle Al.
Yeah, I mean his film is like that. I'd love to see him toss it to him one time, but I mean they'll never do that. It was like Patrick Peterson or just see him with the ball.
Devin White.
Devin White.
Dante Jackson.
Aaron Donald.
Derek Stingley.
4th and 1. Hand it to Aaron Donald.
Who was the Dontari Poe?
Yes.
That they would line up.
That was at Ole Miss.
No.
Well, they did it in the NFL.
Yeah, the Chiefs did it.
Kansas
City.
Chiefs did it. Yeah. They let him throw a pass one time.
Andy
But that
Reid.
was a big Ogeron recruited Ole Miss.
Dontari Poe.
Yeah, he beat LSU for that. What else we got?
Let's see. Who do y'all see returning / leaving the LSU baseball team next season?
I mean, he openly pitched to Doty.
He did openly pitch to Doty and
Gavin
Dugas.
Yeah.
But I'm not ready to say I believe this will happen, but somebody close to the program told me that they believe they can get Barry back.
That would be...
I mean, what a coup.
What a coup. I mean, how much do you like Jay Johnson? You follow him everywhere. Get him to leave Arizona, come to LSU. If he could get him one more time, and just say yes one more time.
Would you take Doty or Barry?
Barry.
Look, that's tough.
Talk Doty to me is a great one. I mean, dude.
Just the lineup, the way that you can stack Dylan Cruz and Jacob Berry.
Who was hitting the ball better than Doty?
I know, but Jacob Berry is just consistent. He's so good on the offensive end. He got hurt, and he still was able to play really well. But, I mean, I'll take either. I'll take both.
Yeah, no doubt.
Both of them.
Yeah, getting both would be scary. And, if you reset the pitching staff.
That's going to happen.
With the same, and then you have the same lineup as last season, essentially.
No doubt.
I mean.
No doubt. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if you can keep
the
offense intact, add a couple of pitchers. Andrew Messina, no way Blake Money is back.
He had his chance. Whenever Coach Jay first got here, they sent him home, and he lost all the weight. He put the work in. He got better. He came back, but I mean, it was very evident that he wasn't a reliable pitcher to have in that starting rotation. So if he does stay with the team, he doesn't enter the transfer portal, he's not going to be in the starting rotation. He might be your midweek reliever.
He was so promising.
He was.
And then he got into SEC play, and he got knocked
Lost
around.
Lost too much weight.
That's impossible.
Not for the glow up, but for baseball.
Yeah. Still need to keep it in the
velocity.
Keep it in the legs. Keep it in the ass.
Stamina.
Yeah.
Eddie Haskell says Spears made honorable mention as an all SEC tight end. Look it up. Look that up. I don't believe that. That's got to be freshman all SEC, because I don't think he played tight end past his freshman season.
I mean, how many he would have to have gotten more than one catch then? Obviously, he would have been out there for the majority of his freshman year at tight end. Right?
Yeah. No, I mean, he was Oh, wow. Looks like we're going to be getting Brian Kelly on the show here.
Right now?
No. The next couple of days.
Hey, BK.
Watch out.
The
Beautiful.
BK killer.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow with you here on the Jordy Culotta Show.
I don't see anything about the
LSEC
tight end.
Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, I think he only had one catch. Somebody pull Marcus Spears' stats at LSU.
That's what I'm looking at.
That's what I was about to do.
I mean, I think he only had that one catch at Tennessee. If you can find that Tennessee game,
He had 2 receptions for 20 yards his freshman year.
LSEC.
freshman. If you can find that Tennessee game, I'm all over the television standing on the bench. All over TV.
Wait, how did you get on the field?
I went to – it was a college trip. We took off on a Thursday night, leaving the bar. My buddy's girlfriend had her mom's Suburban. We laid the seats down. We drove in shifts, ate Adderall.
Absolutely.
I had the
Adderall. Because once you hit that halfway
I had the
point,
shift when we hit Knoxville. Like, I saw the Smoky Mountains for the first time. Floored it, started punching the ceiling like the dude on the Big Lebowski. Woke everybody up in the back, telling them we were here. We were coming to take over. And we ended up running into a friend of ours, Tommy Spinoza, was up there, and his dad was like a big booster and tight with Saban. And I think him and Saban got into like some legal trouble over Perkins Row. Like that was Tommy Spinoza's deal, and Saban was like tied into it with him. Like they were really good friends. And we were walking from Nealon River into the stadium, and my buddy Tommy Spinoza Jr., Tommy's son, says, "I got an extra field pass to the game." And I was say what? He said, "Do you want to roll?" I said, "Hell yeah, bro." We put it on, and I mean, we walked through the gates of Nealon where LSU runs out, walked straight to the sideline. I'm standing up on the bench the entire game. I mean, I'm standing next to Rohan and Michael Clayton as they come off the field. Rohan is lighting Michael Clayton up on one of the – he comes off the field, and Rohan took one to the – that defense was like – that was like John Henderson was on that defense, the big defensive tackle.
Yeah. Big dude.
Hainsworth, I believe, might have still been there. You may want to check. But I know John Henderson was on that team.
Right?
This is 01.
Hold on. I'm
01.
doing some research over
Also,
here. They only had the full game.
Marcus Spears was a freshman all-SEC tight end.
They must have not been any other people.
I guess not.
I mean,
2 catches is crazy.
2 catches.
Freshman all-SEC team as a tight end had 2 receptions for 20 yards.
hell of a blocker. That's unbelievable.
I think that was just like the size of the recruit. Like he was a 5-star recruit. I mean, there was there was like a big push on whether or not like Marcus Spears was going to be like a big time tight end.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like that was his deal, man. All right, have a great day. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Wednesday's edition of Mic'd Up coming at you 6 o'clock tonight. Remember, new time slot for Mic'd Up. Make sure you are subscribed and following them on their YouTube and social media platforms. We'll be back with you tomorrow on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Oh.